Have you ever pondered why your legs start feeling weaker with each passing year, despite your efforts to maintain a healthy diet and remain physically active? You're far from alone in this. Plenty of older adults assume that every fruit out there is beneficial for you. After all, they come straight from nature, don't they? But here's the startling reality that hardly anyone discusses. Not every fruit proves helpful for seniors, particularly those past 60. In reality, certain fruits could be quietly eroding your leg strength, fueling pain, inflammation, and even challenges with walking. The things we consume directly influence the well-being of our muscles, joints, nerves, and blood flow, particularly in the legs. And for those in their later years, the incorrect fruits can spell the difference between a robust, independent life and one plagued by pain, frailty, and reliance on others. It's high time to reveal the 7 most harmful fruits that all seniors ought to steer clear of and grasp precisely how they might undermine your leg health. Before we jump in, if you haven't hit subscribe yet, I suggest you do so and enable the bell notifications so you won't overlook any more health advice tailored just for you. If this video resonates with you, drop a 1 in the comments. If it doesn't, drop a 0 to help me improve my content for you. 1. Pineapple. Pineapple, the silent trigger of inflammation. The quiet instigator of inflammation. Numerous seniors view pineapple as a restorative fruit, frequently lauded for its bromelain enzyme, which is claimed to aid digestion and reduce inflammation. But what the majority of folks over 60 overlook is how this exotic fruit can stealthily turn into a major foe for your legs, particularly when eaten on a regular basis. The real story lurks under its sweet exterior. As the years advance, our systems grow more reactive to natural sugars and acidic elements, both plentiful in pineapple. When these sugars surge through your body, they provoke blood sugar surges, which gradually harm the small blood vessels supplying your legs, those same vessels that sustain your calf muscles' power, your knees' suppleness, and your feet's steadiness. This has nothing to do with calorie counts. It's all about inflammation and the way sugar and acid brew the ideal tempest within an aging frame. What begins as minor tenderness in your thighs or a vague throb in your knees may appear innocuous, but for countless seniors, those routine pineapple treats gradually foster a persistent inflammatory condition, particularly in individuals grappling with arthritis, rigid joints, or inadequate circulation. You could sense greater puffiness in the ankles. Getting up might feel tougher. Your legs might tire out sooner. And that's not merely the toll of time, that's a direct response. Even more troubling, pineapple's bromelain might clash with medications that seniors often take, such as blood thinners, worsening inflammation, and potentially heightening bruising or leg frailty. The impacts start off understated, which makes it all the more perilous. You believe you're opting for something wholesome, yet you're unwittingly stoking the blaze within your joints. So when you next grab for a juicy chunk of pineapple, pause and wonder, is this fruit truly aiding your body, or is it hindering your progress? But pineapple marks only the start. Imagine if we revealed that one of the most touted muscle-supporting fruits could actually be sapping your vitality one bite at a time. Let's discuss bananas. If you're hanging in there and deeming these revelations useful, kindly comment with the number 1 below to show you're on board. Now let's proceed to point number 2. 2. Bananas, the muscle. Bananas, the muscle impostor deceiver. For generations, bananas have earned acclaim as the ultimate fruit for bolstering muscles, mainly due to their potassium levels. Countless seniors rely on them as an everyday essential, a tender, simple-to-digest treat that appears ideal for maturing bodies. But suppose I shared that this everyday yellow delight might actually be sabotaging the very vigor you're striving to preserve. As we advance in age, the body's capacity to handle sugar and starch shifts. Bananas, above all the ripe varieties, pack plenty of natural sugars and fast-digesting carbs, which swiftly transform into glucose. When that sugar enters your blood, it doesn't merely boost vitality. It sets off insulin surges, which gradually promote insulin resistance, added weight in the legs and midsection, and most severely, compromised blood flow to your lower extremities. That translates to diminished oxygen and reduced nutrients arriving at your leg muscles, causing them to wear out quicker, heal more sluggishly, and weaken progressively with every passing week. You could observe your legs seeming weighted down, particularly post-meal. You might encounter tautness in your calves or an odd twinge when ascending stairs. It's understated initially, but it accumulates, especially when bananas feature in your regular habits. And unlike in our younger days, your elderly body won't rebound by morning. With advancing years, even seemingly nutritious picks like bananas can turn into covert underminers. Even more startling is how bananas might heighten fluid buildup in certain seniors, particularly those facing heart issues. That excess liquid pools in the ankles and feet, generating bloating that renders motion agonizing and equilibrium trickier. You're not simply fatigued, you're burdened down. We've long heard that bananas impart fortitude, but perhaps it's moment to question, is that fortitude genuine, or merely a fleeting lift prior to the downturn? And if bananas, traditionally seen as a secure fruit, are discreetly injuring your legs, picture the toll that petite grapes might exact on your joints and feet. Let's examine it more closely. 3 grapes. Petite fruit, grapes. Tiny fruit, big inflammatory impact. Major inflammatory consequence. On the surface, grapes appear harmless, even soothing. They're plush, mouth-sized, and frequently linked to cardiovascular wellness and extended life. Numerous seniors store them on the countertop or in the refrigerator, convinced they're selecting a breezy, nutritious option. But concealed under that sugary peel waits a subtle peril, one that can gradually erode your leg power, agility, and everyday ease without uttering a whisper. The risk stems from fructose, the organic sugar lending grapes their irresistible allure. Unlike glucose, which your system employs for fuel, fructose gets handled in the liver, where it's prone to turning into fat and uric acid. For those in later years, this can swiftly escalate into an issue, particularly if you're contending with joint discomfort, rigidity, or weariness in your lower legs regions. When uric acid accumulates, it deposits in the joints and it requires little to ignite an episode. Gout, among the most excruciating ailments for elderly legs and feet, frequently originates from an apparently benign treat, a modest handful of grapes. Yet the outcome can prove catastrophic. Puffiness, scorching, and piercing agony in the toes, ankles, or knees, frequently during the night as you seek repose. Even absent gout, fructose-heavy fruits like grapes heighten inflammation, and for an elder body already strained, that inflammation resembles dousing fuel on a flickering blaze. What renders grapes particularly sly is their ease of overconsumption. You don't require a hefty serving, merely a cluster now, a few during TV time, some alongside morning fare, and the sugar mounts swiftly. The repercussions may not surface right away, but gradually, your legs start narrating the tale. Sensitive joints, constricted calves, languid motion, and an escalating unease that remains invisible to others. But you sense it each time you attempt to stand from a seat. Thus, if a diminutive, sugary item like grapes can wield such a disproportionate effect, what of fruits that appear revitalizing, yet conceal even greater sugar loads? You could be astonished by the facts on watermelon. If you're persisting in viewing and valuing these observations, please comment number 1 below to indicate you're present. Now, let's advance to point number 4, watermelon, the false hydrator. 4. Watermelon, the misleading hydrator. Watermelon evokes a sense of nostalgia. It calls to mind summer outings, youthful delight, and the pure joy of a chilled, dripping wedge on a balmy afternoon. For numerous seniors, it seems the ideal fruit, brimming with moisture, invigorating, kind to the teeth. But under that sugary facade hides a stark reality. Watermelon might be covertly opposing your leg vitality, and worse still, you may not even detect it. The issue extends beyond mere sugar. It's the velocity at which that sugar inundates your system. Among fruits, watermelon boasts one of the loftiest glycemic indices, signifying it prompts your blood sugar to ascend abruptly. For seniors, particularly those handling prediabetes, diabetes, or lethargic circulation, that ascent isn't merely a figure, it's an alarm. When blood sugar climbs excessively quick, inflammation ensues and your lower limbs, increasingly susceptible with age, start enduring the fallout. You might detect your legs feeling peculiarly drained after eating, or that a mild stroll renders your calves sore. This isn't invariably the mark of years. Frequently, it's the sugar coursing via your veins, inducing oxidative strain and vexing the fragile nerves and vessels that sustain your leg function. Moreover, the body counters sugar excess by hoarding fluid. And where does that fluid accumulate? In the yielding tissues, your ankles, your knees, your feet. All. Spots where motion grows painful and stairs appear loftier than before. Watermelon deceives us since it tastes airy, but within the body it acts akin to confectionery. For individuals beyond 60 whose systems metabolize sugar more deliberately and rebound less adeptly, it can discreetly hasten the erosion of agility. One wedge now, several chunks later, and ere long your legs signal that matters are amiss. But if watermelon, predominantly composed of water, can incite such disruption, what regarding fruits laden with acid that purport to fortify your immune system? The subsequent entry on the roster may astound you. It's likely residing in your refrigerator at this instant. 5. Oranges. Oranges. The acidic assault on joints. The acidic barrage against joints. Oranges have endured as icons of vitality, loaded with vitamin C, tied to warding off colds, and frequently advised within a well-rounded regimen. Many seniors kick off their mornings with a tumbler of orange juice, persuaded they're benefiting their forms. But as reassuring as this routine might seem, the actuality is far more intricate and far more hazardous for maturing legs and joints than the majority comprehend. Beneath the vivid hue and zesty flavor, oranges harbor a dense load of citric acid, a substance that in surplus can exacerbate bodily inflammation, particularly in the joints. For elder adults already enduring arthritis, bursitis, or broad joint tenderness, this acid can function like grit on already delicate cartilage. The outcome? A gradual rigidity in your knees upon rising, a tenderness in your hips that persists all day, that customary sense of your legs seizing after prolonged sitting. It's understated until it isn't. But acid represents only one concern. Oranges, and particularly orange juice, also brim with natural sugars, which when ingested often start to unsettle your body's insulin equilibrium. This can engender systemic inflammation, which doesn't merely target joints. It impacts muscles, vessels, and linking tissues, notably in the lower regions. Gradually, seniors might observe not solely joint discomfort, but also diminished motion scope, bloating near the knees or ankles, and mounting unsteadiness during ambulation or standing. It's simple to suppose a fruit so vibrant and commonplace couldn't feasibly harm. But the physique in your 60s, 70s, and later doesn't recuperate as formerly. The identical orange that once invigorated you could now be impeding your pace. And if this staple morning fruit is discreetly abrading your joints, envision what a seemingly salubrious green apple might inflict, particularly one that nips more sharply than you green apples, a hidden source of leg pain anticipate. 6. Green apples, a concealed fount of leg discomfort. Green apples evoke notions of purity and wellness. Their crunchy bite and sharp tang frequently attract those seeking a purer fruit, something with less sugar, something brisk. For many seniors, and daily green apple seems a prudent, accountable selection. But scarcely do they perceive that under that vivid peel awaits a severe blend of acidity and sugar that can surreptitiously erode the vigor and ease of your legs. What renders green apples especially worrisome is their elevated malic acid levels, an innate element that can challenge aging digestive processes. While malic acid occasionally earns praise for vitality aid in ample or recurrent doses, it might provoke inflammation, notably in those overseeing arthritis or fibromyalgia. That inflammation doesn't merely linger in the gut. It can extend to the hips, thighs, knees, and even to the feet, engendering throbbing, searing, or rigidity that seems to emanate from the muscles themselves. But it's not solely the acid. Green apples likewise hold natural sugars, and for seniors featuring decelerated metabolism and lessened insulin responsiveness, even modest sugar quantities can incite blood sugar oscillations. These variations disrupt circulation and progressively curtail oxygen delivery to the legs. What remains is weariness in the calves, a sense of debility when scaling stairs, or a profound throb following brief strolls. And since green apples are customarily consumed uncooked on a vacant stomach or as a nibble, the repercussions can intensify further. You might not connect your routine apple to your evening leg spasms or your dawn rigidity, but when the body dispatches subtle cues, it's time to heed. Discomfort is seldom arbitrary. It's frequently a response to something deemed secure. Thus, If an ostensibly innocuous item like a green apple can rouse such unease, hold on until you learn of the exotic fruit extolled for its allure, yet covertly inundating your joints with sugar. 7. Mango. Mango, the sugar bomb for your joints. The sugar explosive for your joints. One cannot dispute the delight of a mature mango. Its amber pulp, sugary aroma, and velvety consistency often revive recollections of balmier times and kin assemblies. For numerous seniors, mango evokes a sunlit retreat, an indulgence savored sans remorse. But under that silky sweetness hides one of the densest reservoirs of organic sugar among fruits. And for maturing physiques, particularly your legs and joints, that sweetness exacts a heavy price. A single average mango might harbor over 45 grams of sugar, surpassing a conventional soda can. This sugar volume prompts your blood glucose to vault abruptly, and whereas your youthful form may have managed it effortlessly, the elder physique reacts differently. With years, insulin efficacy wanes and sugar persists in the blood longer, engendering broad inflammation, notably in yielding tissues like knees, ankles, and hip joints. What ensues is a gradual ponderousness in the legs, an unsettling bloating encircling your feet, and a depletion of muscular stamina that can render you winded after mere brief spans. Even more disconcerting, mango sugar can irritate neural tips, particularly in those afflicted by diabetes or nascent neuropathy. That searing in your feet come evening, the prickling in your toes. It may not stem solely from age. It could trace to that nourishing fruit post-supper. And since mango tastes airy and crisp, it's effortless to indulge excessively sans awareness. But your physique tallies it all, and your legs, the very appendages bearing your autonomy, bear the brunt first. Thus, before you grasp that subsequent mango shake or exotic fruit medley, inquire of yourself, does the allure merit the gradual, persistent harm it deposits? Because although these 7 fruits may astound you, the true peril resides in their cumulative toll over time, frequently absent any alert. But fret not, you're far from helpless. Let's now pivot to the remedy, the fruits that aid in restoring leg vitality, alleviating inflammation, and restoring enduring vitality to your days. 8. What should seniors consume? What should seniors eat instead, in its place? Upon realizing that the fruits we relied on may have covertly opposed us, it's understandable to sense irritation, even duplicity. But insight empowers, and through it emerges the chance to adapt, to select more astutely, and to furnish our forms what they genuinely require in this cherished phase of existence. Because maturing isn't about surrender. It's about discerning how to reside more effectively with purpose, insight, and tenderness. For seniors, particularly those sensing the pangs of time embedding in their legs, the resolution isn't to forsake fruit entirely. Rather, it's about electing fruits that mend, not injure. Selections that sustain sans overburdening your system, that bolster blood flow, mitigate inflammation, and impart the vigor to ascend, to ambulate, to navigate with liberty. Once more, commence with berries, nature's authentic anti-inflammatory titans. Blueberries, raspberries, and blackberries brim with antioxidants, skim on sugar, and mild on your blood sugar. They operate subtly behind the scenes, shielding your cells, calming inflamed joints, and enhancing circulation, notably to the lower extremities. Cherries, taken sparingly, provide akin solace, especially for those combating gout or arthritis. Their elements assist in curbing uric acid and diminishing outbreaks that can pilfer your agility sans forewarning. Then exists the subdued might of avocados, silky, gratifying, and replete with salubrious fats that buffer your joints and lessen inner bloating. Unlike sugary fruits, avocados assist in steadying insulin, maintaining vitality consistent across the day. They don't jolt you, they bolster you. Papaya stands as a mild comrade. Its enzymes facilitate digestion. Its nutrients soothe inflammation, and its consistency proves gentle on the maturing gut. For those fatigued by firm fruits and acidic nips, papaya delivers serenity, solace, and fortitude. Even pears, when consumed temperately and combined with protein or fiber, can furnish soft sweetness absent the plunge, aiding your form, not taxing it. In this life juncture, your sustenance ought to collaborate with you, not oppose. Every morsel constitutes a decision toward vitality or from it, toward brighter dawns, simpler strides, and the sort of serenity arising from awareness that your form receives nurture, not mere sustenance. And it all initiates with the fruit you opt to retain and the ones you ultimately resolve to release. Final thoughts from one senior to another. As an individual who has traversed countless miles across existence, across adversity, across mending, across eras of vigor and eras of ache, I wish to address you presently, not as a scribe, but as a companion wayfarer. Maturing proves no simple task. None equips us for the subdued struggles, the rigidity that seeps into your knees, the weary legs that throb after scant effort, the dread that one day you might falter in motion as once fluidly. But if one lesson age has imparted, it's this: we stand never too aged to opt otherwise, to opt superiorly. We've all absorbed that fruit benefits us. We matured amid the food pyramid, with physicians and acquaintances alike declaring, "Consume your fruit, it sustains your wellness." And largely that held true in youth, when our forms proved swifter, sturdier, and more lenient. But now within our 60s, 70s, 80s, and indeed even our 90s, our forms utter more faintly, and we must attend more keenly. The 7 fruits we've surveyed today aren't malevolent akin to processed fare. But for us, for maturing legs, delicate joints, and decelerated mechanisms, they can surreptitiously pilfer what counts paramount: our vigor, our poise, our capacity to stride sans ache. And for seniors, striding embodies all: its autonomy, its poise, its liberty. You needn't revamp your whole regimen abruptly, but you can initiate tenderly to relinquish what serves no more. Substitute inflaming sweetness with mending sustenance. Elect fruits that impart vitality sans cratering your form. Heed how you sense post-ingestion, not merely what gratifies the palate then, but what your legs, your spine, your vitality convey an hour hence. That vigilance constitutes sagacity, and in our era, sagacity ranks among our supreme assets. If you're perusing this and sensing mild overload, draw a breath. You haven't erred. You haven't misstepped. This concerns not reproach. This regards attaining lucidity, about undertaking modest, potent strides toward a more robust, more stable you. Your path doesn't conclude with advancing age. In numerous respects, herein commences the most deliberate, profound chapter. Thus, from one senior to another, I implore you, safeguard your legs, safeguard your wellness, and safeguard your tomorrow by minding what you nourish your form with. You merit to navigate effortlessly. You merit dawns devoid of ache. You merit to relish the forthcoming years striding, rising erect, and accomplishing so with elegance. Because it's not solely about enduring longer. It's about enduring sturdier. And that selection commences now, with every solitary morsel. These insights aim to motivate you toward fullness and genuineness. Now, I'd relish your input. Spare a moment to contemplate and impart one insight you've gleaned and intend to enact in your existence. Let's bolster one another on this path toward adopting these verities. If you savored this video, kindly comment with 1. If not, feel welcome to comment with 0. Your input holds great value to us. Recall to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for additional fare like this. Many thanks for viewing, and cheers to residing life by your own measure.